Okay, hello. I just want to do a quick review on The Fear Bubble by Ant Middleton. So I just recently listened to this one on Audible, and yeah, it's really good. It's his first book, rave reviews, loads of 5-star reviews, and this one 5 stars as well, from a couple of thousand or more. I think maybe even more than that. And yeah, really good. I've seen a lot of his stuff on telly. I quite like the bloke. He seems okay from what I've seen of him. Interesting. He's pretty popular at the minute. I think he's probably quite a good mentor for young people. Young people in particular are quite impressed with sort of military sort of stuff. I think older people like myself tend to be a bit more cynical and just sort of think, yeah, fantastic. But at the end of the day, you're putting yourself in pretty much lethal danger on a daily basis. So, you know, as you get older, you get a bit more cynical, maybe a bit more cowardly in a way, potentially. Don't know, it's debatable. But this book, really interesting. It's a really good personal development book. I love personal development. I do a lot of reviews on personal development books, but I also read other stuff as well. Just recently, I've taken a bit of a diversion from personal development and read a few other things, but this one is definitely a personal development book, because his message throughout the whole book is very much mindset, growth mindset, how to deal with fear. Obviously, the title, The Fear Bubble. I won't spoil it, but I'll just give it a bit of a general overview. He basically talks in a way that you should confront your fears. Fear is something that a lot of successful people will tell you holds you back in life. If you let your life be sort of run by your fears, then you'll just shrink and become smaller, and you'll try less things, and you'll just become more depressed, and you'll struggle to find success. And the message he gives is really, really important, I would say, particularly for the young people who must be kind of idolising him, I would imagine. It's about his trek up Everest as well, which I find really interesting. I find anything to do with Everest really quite fascinating. I suppose it's the highest point in the world. Loads of people have died up there. There's a couple of hundred dead bodies up there just buried in the snow, and I just find the whole thing quite sort of fascinating is the word, basically. And he talked about his trip up there. He comes across as a bit full of bravado, which, you know, take it or leave it. He is who he is. Obviously, you don't, reach that level of success with the special boat service without being fairly confident and self-assured. But he does talk about the importance of not letting ego run things, and talking about how healthy pride is much more important. I think that's a really good distinction that he makes. A lot of young people in particular can fall in the trap of thinking that being egotistical and arrogant is a good thing, and it just isn't. And he talks about that. He talks about how when you start allowing your ego to get in the way, that's when things get dangerous. That's when you start to make silly mistakes. But having healthy pride is really important if you want to be successful, and you should have the pride to want to push yourself and to be a better person. So I really like the way he talked. I really kind of I really sort of related to that, really. I like the idea of just trying to challenge yourself each day, to do new things, to push yourself. My one big bugbear with the whole thing is that I don't care who you are, how successful you are, how tough you are, how hard you are. I do think putting yourself in that kind of danger when you've got kids is a bit shit, personally. And I've since read another book on Everest, and it talks about these people going up there and they died and they left behind a small child and a wife, and I just think that's not really cool. I don't care how much you need that adrenaline rush. I don't care how much you need that adrenaline rush, basically. I think if you've got young kids, I'm sorry, you've decided to have kids, you need to take responsibility, basically, and you can be as tough as you like, you can be as hard as you like, as successful as you like. If you're prepared to put your life in that kind of danger, or you're too arrogant to think that you're going to die, because at the end of the day, however hard you are, Ant Middleton's tough as nails. He's still flesh and blood, and he came very close to dying. And on another day, he may well have died. And if he does it again, he may well die, possibly. He's not superhuman. And I think when you've got kids, I don't think that's particularly cool. So that's just my opinion. But other than that, he's a very interesting character. It's a really interesting book. I definitely recommend it. I found it really easy to listen to. It kept my concentration the whole time, which is really good. And yeah, it fascinated me. It's really, really good. Interesting guy. He's got his show on all four at the minute as well, I think, which kind of, if you watch it on all four, it pretty much tracks exactly what he says in the book as well, so that's kind of good or bad depending on what you think, really. I was hoping for a bit more detail maybe from one or the other, but no, really good book. The Fear Bubble by Ant Middleton.